Hi. Well, today's topic is going to be about resourcefulness. How did this topic come about? Well, in the last couple of years, I've been hearing more and more people complain about the fact that they don't have enough money, they don't have enough time, they don't have enough anything. And that got me thinking. Let's understand one thing. Resources are limited. Don't you agree? There is never going to be a situation where there are unlimited resources. So if resources are limited, then resourcefulness is critical. So, as usual, 3 points. The first point is, you know what? Stop complaining. Complaining, like the old saying goes, gives you something to do but doesn't get you anywhere. Now, it's really important that you wrap your mind around the fact that you've got to get things done in spite of a lack of resources and not go down the mentality of not being able to do it because you don't have resources. The mind decides what the body does. So you've got to be really careful about what you're focusing your mind on. Which then brings me to my next point. We've got to learn to focus on possibilities. Leaders focus on possibilities. They don't focus on impossibilities. They focus on the things that they can do versus the things that they cannot do. Now, the mentality of a person who focuses on possibilities is a mentality of empowerment, a mentality that they give themselves the authority to act. Versus the person who focuses on impossibilities, well, sort of tells themselves that they are not authorized to act, that everything's beyond their control. And this is a very negative way to live their life. You've got to start looking at the path around the potholes and don't focus on the potholes themselves. In fact, if you do drive around literally focusing on potholes, I bet that you're the kind of person who hits every potholes that you see. So, for example, 20 years ago, when I set up my own business, I had a client. And we'll be nice and call him a client because at that point in time, we didn't even know what to call them. I had somebody who came up to us and said, hey, can you run a learning session for some of my students? And to be very honest, at that point in time, we had no money, we had very little experience, and we really didn't know what to do. But we had this request and somebody said, can you deliver this learning experience for our students? Now, no money, pothole. No time, pothole. No experience, pothole. Now, if we had let ourselves focus on those potholes, we wouldn't have gone anywhere. But what we did do, and this is very much in hindsight, was we focused on the fact that we had brains path around the pothole. We had the environment path around the pothole. We had experiences in doing things other than creating learning experience, path around the pothole. And by focusing on what we could do, we then crafted out a method to do things that we originally thought that we couldn't. So you've also got to learn practicing, looking at the kind of resources that you do have, and then making do with the resources that you do. So my final point is, sometimes I feel that an overabundance of resources is the actual reason why we stop being resourcefulness. I'll give you an example, the internet. These days, we seem to have downloaded our brains onto the internet. We've stopped thinking, we've stopped keeping our minds sharp because anything and everything that we need in terms of information and knowledge, I just type it and it comes out just like that. What does that do? That dumbs your mind. Don't let the resources or the absence of it control you. You need to be in control of the resources that you do have and not rely on something that you don't.